Hello and welcome to the AOR Formula Renault 2.0 Championship. I am Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me is Joseph Ringrose and Alex Simpson on the cameras. We are here at Donington Park for rounds 12 and 13 of the season. And Joseph, welcome aboard. And is this a circuit that you particularly enjoy? I think it's got a great place, certainly from my perspective.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenging circuit for some drivers. Not my cup of tea, so to speak, but definitely a fun circuit to drive. There's some tracks that I favour. This has definitely been a bit of a challenge, so I thought I'd hop in the commentary box for today.
Yeah, we are currently just starting qualifying. Got about 7.5 minutes to go. The practice times actually looked really competitive. We've in the championship we've got René Osterkamp leading the way quite commandingly by a 57-point lead over his teammate Patrick Kessler. Then it's Charlie Summers and Phil Reed in third and fourth, and then Moritz, Takac, Godin, Hoyer, Nolden, and Herman. Joe, you've been racing in this series so far. Just tell us really how competitive these guys are at the front of the field, because they really have been able to dominate the championship so far.
Yeah, racing with these guys is on another level. The difference between them is so minimal, but that doesn't quite say that in the championship. But especially in the mid-pack, very, very tight indeed. One race you could be, fighting for top sort of 6, 7, and then the next race you could be struggling to get points. It's a really competitive field in AOR, and every season I sort of was in and around the broadcast last season. It was just as competitive as this season.
Yeah, we're just watching Phil Reed currently coming around the mid part of the circuit. Phil currently in fourth in the championship, looking for a good result. He's won one race so far this season. Has Phil won back in Monza, but he'll be looking to back that up. What are the challenges of this car, Joe? I haven't driven this car too much, but is tyre management a particular big issue for these 40-minute races?
No, tyres is not an issue at all. You could run those tyres forever pretty much. They don't go off at all, to be honest with you. It's just sort of fuel you have to worry about in these races, of course. So pit stops not particularly long, so no tyre changes. The sort of main struggles in this car are the braking. I personally find it's harder to brake in this car than the McLaren MP430. Definitely a very challenging car, but it's what a lot of drivers sort of, especially when they're looking to do single-seaters, sort of start off their iRacing careers.
Yeah, and René Osterkamp has, I think, spent a few seasons in this car now. He's certainly getting the hang of it, and he's currently on pole position by about 0.4 of a second over Kessler, who now just gets beaten by Takac. Putting a good lap in there just to move up in onto the front row. We've seen Christian a little bit up and down so far this season. Had a few good races and had a few not so good races. Had a little bit of upturn and form. Do you know much about Christian, Joe? Have you raced with him too much this season?
No, I'm sort of a back of the field driver. Christian's obviously near the top, but don't really sort of judge him. But he's definitely a fast driver. He's got pace, but sort of makes the odd mistake or gets involved in a bit of an incident every now and then. Nothing against him or anything, but just sort of always seems to be involved in something. But he's got the pace. He's never off the pace at a circuit. He could not do any practice and he'd still sort of be top 5, top 6 driver. So a very talented driver we've got.
Yeah, he's had I think 5 consecutive top 10 finishes, so certainly an upturn in his form for Christian. And he's just coming up to the final corner. Let's see if he can improve this time. Just rounding the final corner, needs to try to put an assault on the pole sit of René Osterkamp. He was a little bit wide coming out that final corner, and it is an invalid lap time, so maybe that 1x there. The 1x's shouldn't be too difficult, should they, around here, Joe? Should they? Around here you got good old-fashioned grass really to stop you track extending.
Yeah, it's not like somewhere like Kota, where you can just sort of run off on the. Although the 1X are very, very strict around that circuit. There's lots of runoff, but here, if you go on track, you'll definitely be punished with the grass. Obviously, severe lack of grip, so you don't want to be going on there. But I'm sure we will see a few drivers on there on lap 1.
And now I am Keeman, just going around the penultimate corner, currently in P12 in qualifying. Cherry Summers actually has just gone back up to P2, but still a 10th behind René Osterkamp, who, if you've seen any of the previous races last week, we were at Nürburgring, and René managed to quite convincingly take the race victory. Keeman fails to improve on that one. In fact, I think it was 1,000th slower than his personal best time, so good consistency in that car. But Phil Reed just having a little exertion out there as well. Currently down in 14th position for Phil, so he'll be looking to maybe make a little bit of an improvement. Is there anyone there, Joe, who is kind of doing a little bit better than maybe they have done in the season prior?
I mean, Daniel Morris seems to sort of struggle in qualifying. He's definitely a quick driver, but managed to find himself in P6 currently, still half a second off pole, but you know, P6 is very, very good in the feature race, and feature points are where sort of the main points are at, and you want to be getting good results there, especially for the reverse grid in the sprint race. Of course, if you haven't watched this series before, there is a reverse grid. There's 2 races, a 40-minute feature race and a 25-minute sprint race for the drivers, which gives some of the sort of back-end drivers or someone who struggled in the race, in the feature race, to have a chance at the win in the sprint race. So we'll be very interested to see the fast guys coming from the back and battling the sort of the mid-pack drivers.
Yeah, and it's just a 20-minute second race as well, so it's a lot of pressure really on the top drivers to kind of make their way through the field with very quickly. And of course, this first race, we really do get to get a good understanding, I think, of who is the fastest driver out there. Usually, if you can win one of these 40-minute races, you really have deserved it, because you really got to can't just get a good start, take the lead and defend for, but you really got to have some good pace. Jean-Francois Godin actually was within 5/1000ths of a second of René Osterkamp. Jean was very quick in practice, setting the 4th fastest time, but in qualifying just missing out. Kane Nolden now coming up to this chicane. Let's see how much curb he takes. I always feel it's a little bit different whatever car you drive, how you tackle that chicane, but doesn't cut the corner too much. And now this kind of weird double apexed hairpin keeps it nice, neat and tidy. Like I said, currently in 7th position, looking to get ahead of Daniel J. Morris and Patrick Kessler in 5th place, perhaps a little bit lower than he would like, Kessler. And Nolden now rounds the final corner, keeps it nice and clean on the exit, and just comes across the line and fails to improve. So I think that's qualifying about done. And yeah, we can take you through the grid. So René Osterkamp on pole position for the feature race here at Donington. Jean-Francois Godin really close, within half a 10th, half a 100th, sorry. Let's hope he can challenge the championship leader throughout this event in 2nd. Charlie Summers starts in 3rd, Christian Takacs in 4th, Patrick Kessler in 5th, Daniel J. Morris 6th, Kay Nolden 7th, Scott Newton 8th, Lubomir March 9th, Tom Van Humen in 10th, and that's Glenn Andre Key, Alexei Sorokin, I am Keeman, Urka Lindstrom, and Phil Reed in 15th, Ty McLeod 16th, Alistair Hayes 17th, David Butler in 18th, Evan Imre 19th, Andrew Woodhouse, we'll be rooting for him, our co-commentator, in 20th, Sarah Dove in 21st, Julie Mojak 22nd, Robert Plumley 23rd, and then the drivers who didn't set a time. Enric Andre was so quick in practice, very far down there in 24th, didn't set a qualifying time. Then Luke Barton and Sam Blackwood rounding out the field. Joe, of course, Osterkamp on pole position, but do you think Godin's going to be able to put up a good fight throughout this event, and maybe even Chai Summers could get involved as well?
Yeah, we all know These guys are very, very fast, all three of them. Charlie Summers was the third fastest, but two fastest in practice, Phil Reed and Eric Andre, both starting below P14. P15 for Phil Reed and P24 for the 33 car of Eric Andre. Will be interesting to see how far Eric Andre can get up the field, maybe capitalise on some incidents. And as you were saying, the top three, all seasoned veterans of the AOR series, so should give them a good fight.
And now the engines rise. Will be away any second now. Away we go. Osterkamp with a good start. Godin consolidates that second position, I think. And Summers under a little bit of pressure just behind by Takacs, I think that is. And Summers just about holds on, and now he's looking for the inside here on Godin. Go side by side, down the hill they come. You can go side by side for a few corners here, and Summers may just be able to edge this one out. Not quite, just has to slot in behind. Seems pretty clean behind. Kessler looking for a move maybe on Takacs, but staying pretty neat and tidy. Summers still looking for a chance. Keeman side by side down the inside he goes. Needs to make sure that you don't lose your front end around this part of the circuit. And Keeman just slots back into position, but now can't any drivers get the run down into this down into the chicane. And pretty clean start there, I thought, Joe, and very neat and tidy from the drivers.
Yeah, just sort of a couple of people that got involved in a bit of an incident. Sarah Dove and Jerry Mojak. Sarah Dove has not got front wing, so I'm assuming she will come into the pit lane. Jerry Mojak has got a bit of bent up rear wing, so I'm sure we'll see him come in as well. But Renault seems to have this first lap under control as we're about to cross the line. Jean-Francois Godin and Charlie Summers still battling away. Getting a bit of a gap to Christian Takacs as well.
Yeah, super close between second and third. Godin just about holding on. Do you think Summers kind of needs to make the move early on here? Otherwise he could perhaps lose touch with his main rival.
It is definitely a long race. You got predicted 29 laps for this feature race. I wouldn't say he needs to make it early. He can always make it up at the pit stops, but again, you'd rather have track position and be ahead of Godin than be stuck behind him. And if Charlie's got the pace to catch up to Osterkamp, you know, you don't want to be stuck behind another car.
Absolutely not. We were talking just before the start. Phil Reed, he's gone from 15th to 12th off the start, so good start for him. Ty McLeod has also gained 3 positions, 16th to 13th. Van Humen lost 4 places, 10th to 14th. And Andre already up 7 places, 24th now to 17th. And Kessler, I think, looking for the move on Takacs. And down the inside goes Kessler. And that was pretty simple. And now just behind, Nolden trying to get involved as well. Nolden on the outside. Maybe he can do a little bit of a dummy. But I think he's just going to stick to the outside and just, hits his braking point. And just has to sit in for now. Like you said earlier on in the lap, a bit of a divide now between third and fourth.
Yeah, Charlie Summers and Godin seem to be pulling away from Kessler. Obviously that was Christian Takacs in P4, but Kessler's now got ahead, so maybe we could see Patrick sort of pull a bit of a gap from the other group of Takacs, Nolden and Morich, and maybe sort of push on to these two and, you know, maybe catch up to his team at Osterkamp and try and hold for the 1-2 in the feature. You know, we know they've got the pace. We've seen that so far this season. They had a 1-2 at Japan in Suzuka. So they've got the pace. They're leading the championship comfortably. So we'll just have to wait and see how this race unfolds.
Yeah, and Scott Newton currently in 9th place, who we're watching right now. Haven't really spoken about Scott so far today. And just having a solid performance there in 9th place. Had such a troubled season so far. Really has struggled for consistency, partly through no fault of his own, I must say. Just got involved in so many incidents so far. But he's just following Daniel Morris. And it's Lubomir Morich, Kane Nolden. Still looking for the move on Takacs, but Kessler failing to kind of pull away currently. and the gap between the top two across the line was 1.2 seconds. So Osterkamp isn't really easily pulling away, but he is seemingly quite comfortable out there. Do you think maybe Godin and Summers could perhaps save a little bit of fuel, Joe, and maybe try to get the overcut later on?
Yeah, they could do. They could sort of work as a team to catch up to Osterkamp maybe, because they're going to have Kessler coming up from behind, teammate to Osterkamp. They don't really want to sort of. I think the thing they need to avoid is getting backed up into Kessler, and they need to avoid that. Charlie Summers got his teammate Christian Takacs behind Kessler, so this could become a battle of the teams here today between Team AOR Blue, Sim RC, and maybe you could see a PSR car. There we've got Lubomir Moric sitting in P7, hasn't really done anything special so far this race, but we know he's a very, very consistent driver and could be up there. Currently P5 in the championship, got a win in the sprint race just at race 1 in Interlagos, so been pretty consistent so far as well this season.
Yeah, we've got a great kind of battle, haven't we, from kind of 4th down to, I'd say, Daniel J. Morris is doing this one. Scott Neaton just starting to drop off a little bit. Scott tends to get maybe a little bit of a slow start, but then usually makes his way up the field. Van Humen's having a bit of a struggling day out there. He's just lost another place to Henrik Onjay. He's just making great progress, to be fair. No fault down to Van Humen out there, because Onjay should really be fighting for the lead out there, but through one reason or another failed to qualify. Now back comes. Oh, around the outside. What a move that is from Onjay. That is some move there. Driver off in the background. Onjay there, that he was taking no prisoners.
No, that was a very good move from Henrik there. Ian Keeman, one of the rookies to the series, a very new name. Henrik Andre, a lot of drivers know, very well known driver in the paddock. Started towards the back, now finds himself in P12. He's now got a 2.5 second gap to the 316 car of Ty McLeod, who's following Glenn Andre Keys, so he's going to be looking to catch those two up. He's just gained nearly a second through the chicane, so maybe those two, maybe Ty McLeod made a mistake through the chicane. But Henrik Andre definitely showing signs of pace there today, as we do know.
Oh, has Mike got an issue? Mike is round. Mike at the final corner. And was running in P7, I think, but he's falling right down the field. Let's see what happened here. Oh, wow. Was it on the traction?
Yeah, look, this car's usually not too hard on traction, to be honest with you. You can sort of just put the power down straight away, but the back end just sort of seemed to go on Lubomir there and just sent him in a spin. It's a shame for Lubomir. Was in P7 at the time of his spin, but that promotes Daniel Morris and Scott Newton up. Hopefully we can see Lubomir continue fight back up the field. It's now sitting behind Tom Van Hooyman.
Yeah, down to 15th place, 6 places lower than where he started. And yeah, hopefully we'll see him fight back up. He's already on the tail of Van Hooyman. Driver who's struggling out there a lot is Phil Reed. I'm not sure if he's got an issue out there, but he's lost a couple of positions. And he looks I don't know if he's maybe slowing down a little bit. Let's see if Phil fights for this position. He's right on the tail of Asta Haight. Just looks to the outside, but no doing there. And yeah, we saw him have an off a couple of laps ago, and it's really struggled since. So hopefully there's not an issue for Phil, but certainly a lot lower down the field than we'd expect him to be.
Yeah, Phil's usually sort of towards the top of the field. He was showing that in practice. I believe he was the fastest man in practice. He won at Monza, we were speaking before the broadcast, P4 in the championship, so he's not sort of a driver we expect to finish P19. He's at the lowest finish of P11, hasn't had a DNF this season. So again, one of those really consistent drivers that's just racked up points. But yeah, he looks to have a bit of wing damage. We're seeing from the chat. Let me have a look. Yeah, it looks to be on the front left of his Formula Renault car.
Yeah, I wonder if he's had just a couple of offs and that's cost him, perhaps. And yeah, not where he would want to be. But out in the lead, Osterkamp. Oh, that's deep from the brakes. That was very close there. Sorry, that's not the lead. That's Kessler in fourth position, followed by Takacs. And Takacs was all over the place on the brakes there, but just about managed to get the car stopped. And not really any inroads currently made by Kessler. The last lap, Osterkamp was doing a 23.2, Kessler a 23.6. And in fact, actually, Osterkamp, Godin, and Summers all within 4/100ths of a second. So super competitive between those guys. And Phil Reed, also Daniel Morris, I think, has just lost position to Scott Newton. Newton up into seventh, making a little bit more progress now. And yeah, he's quite a bit behind Kay Nolden, however. We'll be looking to close that gap. But do you think Godin and Summers are maybe holding something back here against Osterkamp, or do you think that they're really trying to push as hard as they can to keep up?
It's difficult to tell at this stage of the race. Godin and Summers have been pretty consistent compared to Osterkamp. 23.2, 23.2, 23.2. Jean-Francois the fastest out of the three last lap on a 23.242. Huge lock up there from Godin. Bit of tyre smoke, but Phil Reed has in fact come into the pit lane. We heard from the chat that he had wing damage and steering damage, so he had a 24.9 second pit stop, and he now finds himself at the back of the field in P26. So we've had no non-finishes so far, which is good to see. We want to see as many drivers finish as possible, and Phil currently be the last of those, but I'm sure he won't finish at the back of the field today.
Yeah, we're just seeing a spin from I.M. Keeman. Seemed to just lock up the brakes or something there. And round he went at the penultimate hairpin and lost a few positions there, did Keeman. Do you think maybe Reed was trying to stay out as long as possible so that he could get to the end of the race just with one stop?
Yeah, it's all, yeah, he just nearly lost it there. It's definitely a one-stop race, but there's sort of, he had to sort of stretch his stint out a bit so he can complete the race, and because these cars have a fuel limit. They're limited to a certain amount of fuel in these feature races, and he's come in so he can just do the one stop and not have to make an extra one there today, which is very smart thinking from the Brit.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, a little bit wide for and down the inside goes Nolden, in fact, and Takacs there. Just I think he just kind of cut the chicane a little bit, the second part of it, and yeah, lost the position there. Mojak had a spin as well. Wow, okay, that's his day over. I think he is currently back in the pits in 26th position, so
yeah,
big impact there for him. He already had a bit of damage. Do you think that maybe that damage contributed to it? Does the damage affect this car too much?
Yeah, he had a bit of rear wing damage from a lap 1 collision with Saradov, so it's a shame to see. He was one of the two people that obviously were involved in the collision there, but damage is definitely a big thing on this car. And Evan Imre comes into the pit lane, so it's a bit of a mixed day for the team AOR today. You see Kerry Nolden and Christian Takacs and Charlie Summers towards the top, and you currently have Phil Reed, Jiri Mojak and Evan Imre struggling, so mixed emotions for them for the team today.
Yeah, certainly. Well, I think that was Summers just really cutting the chicane. I'm not sure if that's like the racing line through there, but a lot of these drivers struggling a little bit through there. And in fact, I think Summers has just dropped off a little bit. In fact, quite a lot. I think 1.6 seconds now back to Summers. So he has just lost out a bit.
Yeah, Godin's really caught up to Osterkamp within the past lap. It was 1.3 seconds last lap. He now finds himself, crosses the line, 0.87 of a second behind. He's pulled a bit of away from Charlie Summers, as you mentioned, and maybe Jean-Francois Godin is going for an attack on the German.
Yeah, this is what we want to see. Overtaking round here is possible, And if anything, it is very possible. It's the Godin should fancy his chances, I think, of making this overtake on the track, shouldn't he?
Yep, the Canadian definitely experienced in this car, so I'm sure he'll be happy to go on late on the brakes on the move.
I think Nolden and Takacs are currently very close to one another. Takacs within about 0.3 of a second, and maybe looking for the move here. It is easy to get a slowdown where we just saw Takacs going through, but didn't cut the corner too much. And now I can really nail this this chicane. How much speed can he carry through here? Just lost a little bit of time, I think, to Nolden. He's had a good race so far. Started 7th, up into 5th, and certainly establishing himself as a top 5 runner. And Takacs can't quite get close enough. But now, just behind them is Scott Newton, 3.5 seconds back, driving a little bit of a lonely race at the moment. But we wait to see if maybe these drivers ahead will come back to them. And Kessler still not pulling away too much from these guys. Certainly does look like it's going to be a 3-way battle because Kessler is some 9 seconds off the lead. In fact, Takos has got past Nolden, and that's why Nolden has had an issue. I think he's just dropped it on at turn 1, and oh, he just got onto the dirt, didn't he? That's
Yeah,
such
just
a
sent the car
frustrating
around. Yeah, got on the dirt, and the car's gone spinning around. Now Scott's in P6, and we haven't mentioned for a while, Enric Andre now finds himself in P10, half a second behind Glenn Andre Key. Glenn Andre Key finds himself 2 tenths behind Daniel Morris, and Daniel Morris finds himself 3 tenths behind Kerry Nolden. So we've got a 4-way fight here for P7 currently. Can Daniel Morris capitalise on Nolden's mistake?
Yeah, maybe Nolden maybe picked up a little bit of damage. Do you think any area damage could have been done here? And Andre now really close. He can late break down here. A little bit of a defensive move there put up by Key. But I think he knew what was going to happen. And Andre moves up into 9th place. Remember, started in P24. Didn't do qualifying. And maybe a little bit of fight back there from Key, but not quite. Yeah, do you think a spin like that can cause any kind of aero damage, like maybe hitting a couple of bumps on the grass?
Doesn't seem to this occasion. It definitely can. This car's quite fragile when it comes to damage, but I don't think Kerry's got any issues with that. He seems sort of pulled away a bit from Daniel Morris, but one man who's Daniel Morris is not pulling away from is Enric Andre, who now finds himself very, very close on the back of that Team AOR car. He's going to look for a move here.
Oh, this would be a brave run, but straight through for Andre, and he's just making mincemeat of these very competitive drivers.
Yeah.
We should remind you that Andre is so fast up there. He did a 23.3 in that last lap. 2 fair was overtaking traffic, but he was still faster than Kessler, despite dealing with these slower cars. So he's certainly making up the ground, and maybe even a top 4 could still be possible by the end of this one. Godin has closed in further on Osterkamp, was 2 tenths faster on the last lap. Let's see this time. So Osterkamp comes across the line 23.37, Godin 23.19. So he's edging closer and closer, and Summers struggling to kind of keep up with them. Last lap was some 3 tenths slower than Godin, so certainly seems like Godin's got the pace advantage right now out of everyone, and he's really closing in now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's showing his old pace from previous seasons, Jean-Francois Godin. And he hasn't sort of been set in the fielder like this season, but he's been doing a pretty good job. Had a couple of podiums here and there, struggled last time out at the Nürburgring, but very, very tough circuit to master that. He managed to finish P13. He currently finds himself in P2 of the first of the 2 races today, and he's now very, very close to the Sim RC car. Doesn't want to allow René Osterkamp to get his 2nd win in a row. But this is this is what could happen strategy-wise. One of them could maybe do the undercut or the overcut. It just depends what these drivers have planned, or maybe they're going to react to being so close on track.
Yeah, no, Rennie hasn't really got used to this so far this season. I can't actually think of a round where I'd say he hasn't had the most ultimate pace. We've seen him make a couple of mistakes through the season. Seem to remember Okayama, the third round of the season, he spun on the first corner, and now he is not dominating this one at all, because Godin is looking red hot right now, and he's all over the back of that Sim RC car. He's right in the slipstream. The slipstream effect is so strong around here, and just taking slightly wider lines at the moment. Just wants to get the exit, little bit of a look down the inside, maybe just to cut Osterkamp off. Osterkamp still made the apex well, and should be okay into the chicane. Not too much of a braking zone actually down here. It's all about carrying the speed through, picking a line just right, but it's so easy to make a mistake. Osterkamp there was super quick through that chicane though, and actually pulls out about a tenth of a second.
Yeah, it was just on last season at Donington where these two drivers were battling, so bit of deja vu there. Got on spun that day, so he's going to be looking to want to get revenge on Renault Osterkamp, and he's going to want to take the win away from Osterkamp. He's been getting ever closer every single lap, and the past couple of laps he's looked even hotter on the rear of that yellow Sim RC car. Charlie Summers has fallen off a bit from these guys. I'm sure he'll be able to catch up at the stops, but these two are currently, no, they're not the fastest guys on track. In fact, last lap Charlie Summers was the fastest man on track, so maybe Charlie could be catching up on these two.
Yeah, he did actually close in a little bit, and also Kessler, for the first time I think I've seen in this race, actually closed in a little bit as well. I think, has Ty McLeod got an issue out there? I think he's just lost a bit of time as Ty McLeod, so
Yeah, looks to have had a bit of a look back. Yeah, he just sort of lost the rear end through one, and yeah, nothing major, didn't collect anyone with him, didn't get on the dirt this time though, so it's an interesting one.
Still, Gordon right on the tail, 3.5 tenths of a second, pretty much the closest battle out on track at the moment. And Osterkamp just holding on for now. But Gordon, do you think maybe if Gordon doesn't feel he can make the move safely, do you think he will go for more of a fuel-saving strategy, just try to get the overcut?
Yeah, he could do. It's very different with these cars because you sort of tend to run out a bit longer, because tyres don't really affect things as much as, say, the Formula 1 cars on iRacing, so tyres aren't much of an issue to manage and they don't wear as much, so it's sort of whoever's on the lowest fuel will be on the fastest out of the pair. They're probably on very similar fuel levels currently, but I think sort of 25 minutes into this race before the stops, I'm going to give a rundown of the top, well, the lineup so far. So we have obviously René Osterkamp leading the way, followed by Jean-Francois Godin, battling away all race. Then we have Charlie Summers in P3 in the blue team AOR car with Patrick Kessler in P4. Christian Takacs is P5 with Scott Newton doing a very, very good job in P6. Kerry Nolden P7 after his little mistake, looking to redeem himself and get past Scott Newton. Eric Andre having a bit of a miss-up in qualifying, starting towards the back of the field, currently finds himself P8, just ahead of Daniel J. Morris with Glenn Andre Key in P10. Do you want to take the next 10, Sam?
Yep, absolutely. Alexei Sorokin in 11th, Ty McLeod 12th. Lubomir March has had a couple of issues in 13th. Tom Van Humen in 14th. Luke Bartson doing a good job, actually, up 10 places for Luke, so he's in 15th. Herkel Lindstrom 16th. I am Keeman in 17th. Alistair Hay 18th. Robert Plumley in 19th. And David Butler in 20th. And I'll let you round out the field.
Yeah, so Evan Imre has just made his pit stop, come out in P21. Sora Dove making that very, very early pit stop. P22. Sam Blackwood, P23. And Phil Reed still out there currently in P24. We have 2 retirees from this race. One we didn't see is our very own Andrew Woodhouse. Shame for Woody there. Not too sure what happened to him. And Jerry Mojak, also the other DNF this race. So we had a pretty clean race overall, haven't we, Sam?
Yeah, certainly. Andrew actually went on the YouTube chat, and I don't think was best pleased. Just rubbish was his exact words. So I think that probably sums it up. And yeah, Woody will be back for the second race. Unfortunately, starting near the back, but I'm sure he'll be looking for a good drive through the field in picking up other drivers' mistakes. Currently watching I.M. Keeman, who's just come out of the pits, I believe. And yeah, he's just following Urkel Lindstrom currently. These two in 15th and 16th, neither pitted so far, so. And Lindstrom just about holding on. Maybe one of these two will pit any second, maybe just do the opposite of the other, maybe just to get a little bit of clean air, but they both stay out still. And still very few drivers have made pit stops.
Yeah.
Luke Bartson is the top driver who has made a pit stop, followed by Alistair Hay, and then Evan Imre in 21st. But do you tend to try to drag it out as long as possible, or do you kind of think, oh, I'm in a bit of traffic here, I'll pit a few laps early just to get a bit of clean air?
Yeah, it just sort of depends on my situation, really. Usually I'll just sort of tend to stretch it out and try and fuel as little as possible going into the final stages of the race. If I'm in a bit of traffic, I might pull into the pits a couple of laps earlier, get a bit of clean air, and hopefully jump. As I think is that René Osterkamp can come into the pit lane ahead of his rival Jean-Francois Godin, so he's going to be the first one to jump the gun. Is it going to be a quick pit stop? Should be around 4 seconds. Let's see that now.
Well, we wait to see where he's going to come out. Scott Newton just pitted as well, but Rennie really needs some clear air, I think, otherwise.
Eric Andre. Oh, he's going to come slot up just behind these two.
Ooh, that is one of the worst places he can be. He's right on the tail of Andre, and Andre's not going to learn past easy because he's pretty much just as fast.
Yeah, he's just as fast as René, and he's going to be on lower fuel, isn't he? So that's going to be an interesting battle to watch as René looks to make a move. Round the outside he goes. Godin's going to be pushing like hell to try and make this work. He's not going to know that René's stuck in traffic, but René's managed to get himself ahead of the race clutch driver of Eric Andre.
That was far too gentlemanly from Eric Andre. Hello guys, had to chip in there. Come on, battle him, Eric. That's what you're out there for. We want to see some racing.
Oh, he might come back here. He's right on the tail. He could go for a move here. Maybe he's listening to you, Alex, but nah. Again, you're 100% right, Alex. Very gentlemanly there from Emmerich Andre, not wanting to fight the championship leader. Summers is in, Kessler is in, Godin isn't in. So
everyone else has come in.
Oh, and Osterkamp's got some clear air now.
Kessler, Takacs, Andre, Nolden. So, thing is, this is very interesting to see what's going to happen. René's going to be in heavy fuel, also in clear air. Jean-Francois Godin is going to be in clear air and lighter fuel, just getting past the lap car of Sam Blackwood. Shouldn't have given him too many issues. Should be alright for the moment. But he's going to have to come in soon because that fuel tank won't last him forever.
No, and I wonder if he just saved a little bit of fuel behind Osterkamp, which has enabled him to do this one extra lap. Surely he's going to be in this time round, but you know what? With this clean air or that one bit of traffic, maybe that we lost any time due to it, I think he's going to have a really good chance here of Godin to maybe leap the championship leader. Godin hasn't got a top 2 all season. He looks very strong for that at the very least, but he'll be looking for the race victory, and in he comes. and needs to absolutely nail this. Every 10th counts now.
Yeah, everyone sort of had a 21-second pit lane time. The gap was 19 seconds, so it's going to be very, very close. He's going to have to have a very, very good pit lane to come out alongside.
I think he's got him, hasn't he?
It's going to be close.
He's ahead. Goddan's got it. Yes, he has.
Yeah, Goddan's got it.
Brilliant. Couple of laps from Goddan. He's done the jump. Osterkamp, if anything, had to just get on the brakes a little bit early for turn one, so that he didn't come anywhere near his rival. And Goddan's got check position, and now it's all up to Osterkamp to make the difference now and win this race outright.
Yeah, I think it's between these two. If these two continue battling, maybe Charlie Summers could get involved in the action, but Patrick Kessler, Christian Takacs and Kerry Nolden are way, way off these two guys now. But Jean-Francois Goddan is going to be very, very happy with that there. Managing to make that work. Those extra 2 laps, he pushed so, so hard. 10th faster than Rene Osterkamp last lap. And that worked. That's all he needed. And he's just going to be pushing now. He's probably got less fuel in the car than Rene. He's probably been practicing this strategy throughout the week. And yeah, just can't really say much more. Bit of a masterclass there from Jean-Francois.
Yeah, absolutely. It's literally the perfect example of the overcut working. Just a little bit less fuel for those 2 laps, and now I think they can't pass Sarah Dove. Not going to cause any issues for them. Osterkamp, yeah, no issues for him. Maybe Summers needs to. Summers is 2.5 seconds off the lead at the moment, and Andre just ahead of Newton, who lost out to Andre actually during the pit stops, I believe. But Andre not really pulling away from Newton. And yeah, if anything, Newton looks perhaps a little bit faster right now.
Yeah, Newton's looked very, very fast coming out of the pit lane. Since then, Kerry is just sort of half a second ahead of them. Enric will be doing a very, very fantastic job to get into P6. He's had a great job so far in P7, starting from the back, starting P24 today. So he's made up numerous positions. The Belgian driver.
I've actually got Urka Lindström right on the tail of IM Kieman. And just having to wait in behind at the moment. These two have actually had quite a good battle before the pit stops. They were fighting for this 16th and 17th positions, and they're still going at it, and down the inside goes Lindström. We've seen a few overtakes here, and that's a very good overtake there from Lindström. Just saw the gap, got the slipstream beforehand, and managed to take a decisive move there. Doubt this one's going to be over. I think Kieman's going to be able to fight back, and here he comes. Move down into the chicane if he can possibly have a go. It's difficult to follow through this chicane just to spot your line correct, but Kieman gets it about right. Can really go for a dive bomb down here, and it would have to be a dive bomb from this far back. A little bit of a defense from Lindström, wide from Kieman, but he can maybe get a slightly better drive out. Tries to get right into the slipstream now, looking for the inside into the final corner, and if anything just has to turn out a bit so that he doesn't hit his rival. But maybe we'll just have to wait in behind for now. This is the battle for 16th and 17th, but out in front, still 8 tenths between the 2 leaders. And I think Goddan, if anything, might just have the slight pace advantage, although on that last lap Osterkamp did manage to close in by a couple of tenths.
Yeah, he did. Another sort of battle, very, very close battle. We haven't really been watching. We've been sort of focusing on the top half of the field because it's been so tight up there. But Robert Plumley and Alistair Hay have been going at it for a few laps now. Just a couple of attempts to separate them, and Evan RT Imre has decided to join the party. So a little bit of a freeway battle here for the bottom end of the points.
Yeah, Robert usually very solid out there, I must say. He always kind of puts in these solid performances, not necessarily always fighting for the top 10s in these feature races, but usually doesn't make many mistakes, and looking pretty good out there. has some good speed through the chicane, and like you said, just ahead of Alistair Hay. And Keeman's just got past Lindstrom, by the way, again. So Keeman back up into that 16th position. Maybe if Keeman and Lindstrom keep on fighting like they are, maybe it'll allow this bunch of drivers to catch back up. But Hay right on the tail of Plumley. Hay was a little bit further up the field earlier on, and he's now right into the slipstream. And he looked for a move down into turn 1. Not too much of a braking zone here, and Plumley just about holds on for now.
Yep, as we said, Evan Imre probably looking to pounce on these two if they get involved in a bit of a tussle. Just sort of sitting back and sort of waiting on what these two guys do. Another battle again. Tom Van Hooyman and Luke Barton getting very, very close. Luke Barton, is he going to make that move stick? Bit of contact there, I think. We're hearing that Sam Blackwood has been disqualified due to going over the incident cap. It's a shame for him. He was running towards the back, but he was on the bottom end of the points, I believe. So that is a shame for Sam there, but he'll still have the sprint race to contest.
Yeah, just the 15 instant, or the 14 instance that they're allowed, the 15th, they will get disqualified, and could see that becoming a little bit more of an issue. I just noticed, of course, we've got only about 4 more minutes. It's these feature races always do fly by and kind of over before you know it. But Godin ever so slightly still ahead, and on that last lap, Osterkamp was 2/100ths faster, but not really much of an impact made. Summers has actually closed in a little bit. It was a 10th and a half faster than the leading two on that last lap. Not really anything happening though, and Andre progress maybe could get Kerry Nolden with a lap to go. Oh, and has Andre made a mistake? So I think Andre's just lost a position to Scott Newton.
Maybe Enric Andre's gone over the incident cap.
Oh yeah, good yeah.
And Daniel Morris. No,
oh,
no,
wow.
my bad. No, that was my timing messing up a bit there. But it looks to be that Enric Andre may have gone over the incident cap. I can't confirm that just yet, but he just sort of seemed to disappear off of my screen.
Yeah, I can't see him either. So
it's a real shame for Enric.
it's
He
frustrating
really
as
pulled
well.
his way. 3 minutes left, just a couple of laps to go, and that's a real shame for Enric. He was battling right up the field, fought his way up from 24th.
He would have been so strong for the second race, wouldn't he? Starting in the mid-pack whilst the front runners would have been starting behind him.
Yeah.
Could have had a real good shot at the race victory, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Sort of starting sort of P13, P14 for the sprint would have been really good. But yeah, I really feel for Enric. Haven't been in that position before, but I can't imagine what it feels like when you've had such a good race, struggled in qualifying, had a really, really good race, and you know, all of it to go like that. But we're gonna go back to the lead of the race. We've got a couple of minutes left to go. René Osterkamp and Jean-Francois Godin are about to cross the line to complete their 27th lap of the race. Going on to lap 28 now. This should be their penultimate lap.
And Osterkamp just piling on the pressure on Godin. Mind you, Godin hasn't got a race victory so far this season, and in fact hasn't really come that close, although in previous rounds he's kind of been best of the rest. But this man just behind him, René Osterkamp, has just been a level above. But today there's been no doubt that Jean-Francois Godin has been, at the very least, a match for René. And after that, after pitting a couple of laps later, then Osterkamp managed to gain the overcut. He's taken the lead, and he looks strong out there, but the gap's slowly been coming down. Last lap, Osterkamp 2/10ths quicker. Is René going to be thinking about the championship, or surely with the lead he's got, he can afford to maybe have a collision here? Surely he's just got to go for the race victory.
I mean, it's difficult because I wouldn't say he needs the points. I would say he needs the extra points for the win compared to second place. He's got a very commanding Championship lead currently of 57 points to his teammate, and then it's another 127 back from Osterkamp to third place man Charlie Summers, I believe. So it's not needed, but I'm sure obviously it's the pride in taking that victory. You always want to win. You don't want to come second. But yeah, go down and want that just as much as Osterkamp will. Be his first win of the season for Godin. He's going to want that just that little bit more.
Yeah, this would be Osterkamp's 5th victory of the season if he could hang on. And I think would actually be his first feature race victory since the very first round. He's won the previous 3 endurance meetings, but not these feature races. But you know what? It's not looking likely right now because Jean-Francois Godin is on his final lap and is just a couple of corners away from taking his first victory of the season. Nothing Osterkamp can do. Godin has driven the absolute perfect race from the front row of the grid, got the overcut, textbook strategic move, and he comes out of the final corner to the line, and Jean-Francois Godin takes the race victory. Brilliant drive from him. René Osterkamp comes home in second. He gave it his all, René, but he was just beaten by the faster driver in the end. Charlie Summers claims a podium. That's a very good result for him, 3rd place in the championship. Kessler comes home in 4th with Takacs, a little bit of a quiet race in the end for him in 5th. Nolden 6th, and Newton picking up on other drivers' errors in 7th. That was, I must say, out of the drives this season, I think that's one of the drives of the season there from Godin.
Yeah, it wasn't a particularly commanding victory, but I think it was just that him and René were just so matched on pace today. We've still got the sprint race to go, so don't turn off your screens yet. We've got one more race, a 25-minute sprint race with a reverse grid, so that will be a very interesting watch. Obviously, congratulations to Jean-Francois on his victory, René on his 2nd place, and Charlie Summers on his 3rd. We'll give you a quick roundup on the race results, should we, Sam?
Yep.
So I'll start off with the first 10. We've obviously mentioned this many times now. Jean-Francois Godin is your feature race winner here today, the Canadian driver. The Sim RC man René Osterkamp coming P2 with Team AOR driver Charlie Summers in P3, rounding up your podium. Patrick Kessler, René Osterkamp's teammate, just wasn't on his level today in P4. Christian Takacs P5, Nolden P6. Scott Newton capitalised on others' mistakes in P7. Daniel Morris P8. Glenn Andre Key made up 2 spots today in P9. So did his teammate Alexei Sorokin. A good drive from the PSR boys there. Do you want to take up the next 10, Sam?
Yep. Ty McLeod in 11th, another good solid drive from him. Luke Barton in 25th on the grid. Really good drive up the field from him. We didn't speak too much about him, but pulled off a good strategy. A little bit of an early pit stop for him, and it worked really well in P12. Tom Van Newman in 13th. Lubomir March made a mistake out there after running in the top 8 early on. He comes home in 14th. Robert Plumley, solid result for him. 23rd on the grid, finishes in 15th. Alistair Hay in 16th. Evan Imre, 17th. David Butela in 18th. Erka Lindstrom had a couple of good battles out there in 19th. And Sarah Dove managed to recover to 20th, 1 lap down.
Yeah, I think these are all the DNFs now. We have Ian Keeman, Enric Andre, Sam Blackwood, Phil Reed, Andrew Woodhouse, and Jiri Mojak. So disappointing from them. I'm sure they'll be disappointed, but they can still participate in the sprint race. So not all is lost for those drivers. We could have just a completely odd start and get a bit of an incident up front, and maybe they can capitalise from the back. But we will see you just in a few moments for Race 2, the sprint race here at Donington Park.
chair of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMerritt at the line. chair of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMary at the line.
to the AOR Formula Renault 2.0 Championship here at Donington Park. I am Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me is Joseph Ringrose and Alex Simpson on the cameras, and we are here for the reverse race, 25 minutes out there. I've got David Butler on pole position, followed by Evan Imre, Asta Hay in third, Robert Plumley fourth, Lubomir March in fifth, Tom Van Humen in sixth, Luke Barton seventh, Ty McLeod eighth, Alexei Sorokin ninth, and Glenn Andre Key in 10th position, followed by Daniel Morris, Scott Newton, Kay Nolden, Christian Takacs, Patrick Kessler, Charlie Summers, Rennie Osterkamp, Jean-Francois Godin, our race one winner, Erkan Lindstrom, Sarge Dove, I.M. Keeman, Enric Andre, and Phil Reed and Andrew Woodhouse rounding out the field. We've got just about everyone on the grid, I think, and we'll be ready to go. A little bit of a jump start in the background, and Butler is away. And decent start for him, but side by side going into turn one. Round the outside there is Imre trying to go for the move, but has just got shoved out, and a spin in the background as well. And that's Glenn Andre Key into the gravel.
Huge crash.
Yeah, a lot of cars involved in that.
Lindstrom being one of the main ones, getting flown up into the air in his TDT racing car. One of the PSR cars. I think you said that was Glenn Andre Key getting involved as well. Yeah, he's got a bit of damage to that car.
But it's still Butler in the lead, followed by Hay. And a little bit of side-by-side in the background. I think that's Barton going past Plumley. So Barton could be a threat in this race. Started low down in the first race, but still side-by-side down the back straight. Nolden and Human, and Plumley going back past Barton now. So Barton's struggling to hold on to that position. I think Plumley's managed to take it back, but still Butler in the lead, and Hay just following in behind.
Scott Newton's coming to the pit lane, obviously involved in that sort of turn one incident somewhere. That's a shame for Scott. He had a decent first race, finishing P7, and looks like he's going to have a DNF here today. Someone else also in the pit lane, that's Enric Andre, so doesn't look to be a good race for him today. But currently it's the VRT Red, the VRT blue car in the top two position, David Butler and Asta Hay, and the PSR car of Lubomir Moric in P3.
Yeah, Moric running well, made a mistake in the first race, and that's kind of contributed to his fifth place start in this one, and certainly can use it to good advantage. It was a weird one for Andre. Just lost the rear end in the penultimate corner, but here comes Hay defending against March, but March straight through, easy past Hay, and March, you know what, looks really strong for the race win, I think, in this one.
Yeah, definitely a very, very good candidate for the win. Obviously he made that mistake, so he was quite a far way down in the feature race, not where we'd expect him to be, and that's a couple of cars off. That's Tom Van Humen and Robert Plumley involved.
Barton, well, I think there might be one other.
That's a red car. Is that a Team AOR car? Is that Daniel J. Morris seems to be involved? Again, a shame for all of those drivers.
Yeah, I think it may have started with an individual spin from one of them, and yeah, they all kind of just piled in. 5 cars involved in that one, and their race is really compromised.
Charlie Summers hasn't got a front wing.
Yeah.
Unless that might just be a visual bug. He seems to be sort of going well, unless he's just holding it out. I mean, sort of with these sprint races, if you pit, it's pretty much your race over. So maybe just sort of holding it out as long as you can. But had a few drivers involved in incidents so far, but Tom Van Humen still finds himself in the points after that little incident. Moric on the back of Butler for the race lead. So a really, really good battle between Jean-Francois Godin and René Osterkamp in race 1. And René Osterkamp has already made up 10 positions so far, currently in P7.
Super impressive. Phil Reed up 15 places right on his tail. So Reed with a great start, but here comes March, maybe going for the move down into the chicane, not quite, but really fast across, and here comes March, down the inside goes March, into the race lead, goes Lubomir March, surely can hold it on the brakes here. May just have to defend on the exit, but I think he's got it all sorted. March now has to really pull away from these drivers as the fast drivers really pull through. Okay, Nolden past Evan Imre now, so Nolden up into 4th position and a little bit wide there for I think that may be Nolden just making the move actually around the outside, and now he's on he's sitting behind Butzelar down the inside. I think he's just lost he's trying to make that position on Hay, but that's crucial for March now, and he's got to put in some big laps now, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's going to want to get that lead out. He's definitely the fastest out of these sort of lead pack, but Kerry's not too far behind. You know how fast Kerry Nolden is. Sits himself behind the BRT car of David Butzelar. Is he going to get past? Around the outside, we saw this move by Enric Andre in race 1. David Butzelar getting a bit squirrely there, and it's going to leave him under threat from Evan Imre. He's not going to want that.
Round for Nolden. Wow, how did he hold on to that when he's lost the position again? And now he's going to be under pressure. He's already lost the position to Imre, and he's going to be under pressure from Kessler. This is important because Kessler's going to be quick. Kessler can't make the move. And in fact, right on Kessler already is Osterkamp. And here comes Osterkamp, the two SimRC teammates. Is there going to be any coordination? Racing pretty firmly, but Kessler just gives in. And through goes Osterkamp up into P6 now.
Yeah, I can tell you one thing, there was no team orders involved there. That was definitely a bold move by René Osterkamp. Managed to make it stick. No contact made with his teammate. So all clean so far for the German driver. But Ludwig Morris has got a 1.9 second lead over Alistair Hay and David Butzelar, Kerry Nolden P4, and rounding out your top 5 is Evan Imre.
Yeah, I think it was Nolden just making the move on Imre. It seemed as though Imre kind of had a slowdown or something. It was quite slow down the pit straight. And now here comes Osterkamp. He can't lose any time in this. He needs to make the move now. And he goes to the outside in this first kink. He's almost off the circuit. He'll look to the inside in this next one, but he can't make it. Has to sit in behind. And again defensive from Imre. Holds on for now. But Osterkamp is really snapping at his heels.
Yeah, he is right at the back of Imre. Is he going to make a move into the chicane? Something's happened to Ty McLeod by the sounds of it. Going to check back.
And Osterkamp is just about through past Imre. And Sarah Dub, I think, just losing out there on a position. But Butzelar's holding on against Nolden. I think Nolden's knocking on the door right now, but he can't quite make the move currently. But down the inside goes Nolden. This is for P3, and Nolden's through. The race victory is really on the cards here for Kerry Nolden. If he can put in a couple more good overtakes, he's only 2.5 seconds off the race lead. He's certainly got the pace to bring this one back. Next up for him is Alistair Hay in P2.
Yeah, Alistair Hay's been doing a very solid job so far. Getting ahead of David Butzelar and managing to sustain his position. Ludwig Moritz has gained out a bit faster, gained out a bit further ahead of Alistair, but we know that Ludwig is a very, very fast driver in the series, so that is definitely expected.
Yeah, Nolden going past Hay now down the inside, and a straight past goes Kerry Nolden. Pretty simple there for him. And now he can really go on the chase for March. 2.7 seconds is the gap between the two. Osterkamp now getting past Butzelar. You can just see in the background there into the penultimate hairpin. So he's still making progress. I think there was an issue for Phil Reed a few laps ago. He was actually looking really strong, but I think got caught up in an incident perhaps with Jean-Francois Godin. I think that was a few laps ago. And yeah, like I said, was in a strong position, but he is now out of the race. So awful day for him. So to Enric Andre, who we saw retire on the first lap. Bad days for them, high up in the championship, but not scoring many points at all. But drivers who are still picking up a lot of points are still René Osterkamp and Kay Nolden, 2 strong finishers from race 1, and they're looking good right now in race 2.
Yeah, one man who probably wasn't expecting to find himself inside the points today was Andrew Woodhouse, currently P14. So Woody having a pretty disappointing first race, and what, P14 now? Yeah, 8 seconds behind Sarah Dove. So this could be a pretty good one for Woody, couldn't it, Sam?
Yeah, really good, really good effort. And you know what? He's not too far behind Sarah Dove either. And we'll be looking to put the pressure Sarah perhaps a little bit off the pace this week compared to Nürburgring, where I think she managed to claim a brilliant 4th position in that 60-minute race. But this one, Donington not quite favouring her quite so much. But Woody looking strong, maybe to take a, like I said, a really strong finish, up 10 places. Only Osterkamp, who's now up 14 places now that he's just got past Alistair Hay for P3. Osterkamp is 2.9 seconds off the lead, so he can certainly bring it back from here. But he's got to get a move on. He's got some quarter of an hour to catch up to the race leader. And and this was the overtake actually, down the inside into the final corner, and it was relatively basic in the end for René to take that podium position.
Yeah, so René looking to have a very strong performance here today, and I think that is David Buesler having a bit of an off, being passed by Patrick Kessler and Jean-Francois Godin. So now P7 for David Buesler after starting in pole position. Christian Takacs now looking to make a move on David Buesler. Something may have happened to Evan Imre. I don't think we quite caught it. Down in P9, was up sort of P5 battling with those guys, unless he's just sort of been passed by the other drivers. But yeah,
he was up there, wasn't he? Yeah, I think he may have just got shoved out a little bit. You know, if you lose one position around this circuit, you can quite easily lose another couple. And Andre Key actually just came past Summers there. Would not expect that to be so easy. So maybe Charlie Summers has got a bit of an issue. Struggled to kind of make the progress so far as Charlie. And yeah, finding Andre Key a difficult customer currently. And yeah, just having to sit in behind for now. Let's see if he can maybe go for a dive bomb into last corner. Nowhere near close enough. But yeah, difficult to tell what's going on with Summers, because these two are some 9 seconds behind the next driver of Evan Imre, so they're very much racing a battle by themselves. Kessler still close to Hay, trying to make the progress up the field, and Kessler another side performance, and there he goes past Hay. Hay not fighting too much. If you were Hay in this situation, you had kind of Alistair's pace, would you be letting these drivers pass as easily as you would say he kind of is right now?
I mean, you want to battle them as much as you can, but I think he doesn't want to have an incident with them. These are good points for Alistair in the championship. You know, he knows these guys are faster than him if you look in the championship, and he doesn't want to be losing too much time to other people behind, or maybe getting involved in a bit of an incident with the two. So it's smart from Alistair what he's doing. He's battling, but he's not battling hard enough to lose time.
Yeah, I think he's going about it pretty well. We're currently watching Kay Nolden in second place. We're going to have a fascinating fight for the lead in a moment, because March is the slowest out of these drivers. Nolden is second fastest, and then Osterkamp is the fastest. So it's very much turning into a Nolden sandwich, I think, and it's getting very tightly squeezed. And on that last lap, March 24.3, Nolden 23.7, Osterkamp 23.4. So yeah, just like what I was saying, kind of opposite pace in comparison to track position, and could be fascinating to see who this battle, see who can make the moves when.
Yeah, all of the top 5 drivers have won a race so far this season, whether it be a sprint race, an endurance race, or a feature. So they've all proven that they can win their race on their day. Obviously depends on the track, but now Kerry Nolden and René Osterkamp are getting very, very close to Ludmir Moritz, so we could have a bit of a freeway battle here in the final 10 minutes of the race for the lead, Sam.
Yeah, would be great to see. Of course, race 1 was a good enough battle Well, of course, we didn't really have a overtake for the lead on track, but I think the strategy battle more than made up for it. That was an intriguing fight between Osterkamp and Godin. Godin, by the way, in P5. Fascinating to see. Second, third, fourth, and fifth have gained at least 11 places each. Really good drive from those top drivers to gain that many positions in just quarter of an hour. And Nolden closing and closing now on the race leader of Lubomir Maric. Andrew Woodhouse, by the way, has just got up to P13, up 11 places himself. So still a very good race out there for Woody.
Yeah, and he hasn't got to worry about making a pit stop. So P13 is his currently, as long as he doesn't do anything too stupid. That'll be some good points for Woody there in the championship.
Yeah, I think it'd be his first points of the season. Of course, did Nürburgring last week. That was his first entry. And then, of course, earlier today, failed to finish the event, I believe. So, yes, certainly would like to get some points on the board. And yeah, that 13th position would be a really good achievement for a relatively inexperienced driver in this series. Jean-Francois Godin still close to Patrick Kessler in 4th and 5th positions. And Godin was the race victor, in the first race. And in fact, actually out in the lead, it's even closer. Maric, Nolden, and Osterkamp. And you know what? I think is Osterkamp going for a move here down the outside. This is going to be a brave one. Nolden's got to hang on if he possibly can. But here comes the cutback from Osterkamp. They're going to be side by side down the hill. They go, like I said earlier, you can go side by side down here. Nolden cannot let this one go. Otherwise, this could be for the race victory. Oh. Nearly contact between the two. Osterkamp just has to settle in behind. He's off the track, over the bumps. He can make a move into this one. Will Nolden defend? Nolden isn't defending quite, but Osterkamp wasn't close enough to make the pass back. Nolden, that was brilliant defence, wasn't it?
Yeah, great racing, great defence from Nolden there. But I think René just sort of backed out of that move. Doesn't want to throw this race in the bin. You know, he's currently P3. And he came P2 last race, so it'd be a very, very good double result. And with just 3 races left after this, 3 rounds left, I believe.
He's going for it again. He's tight to the line.
Oh, very, very close.
Oh, he's wide. Nolden's wide. Can he get the cut back? Maybe. Oh, wow. Osterkamp nearly loses it on the traction, but he still hangs on. Wow, that was right to the limit. Such a wide turn in there. And they both kind of messed up a little bit there. But in the end, it was Osterkamp who managed to take that second place.
Indeed it was. So René currently finds himself in P2, the position he was in the final 10 minutes of the last race. Can he get ahead of Lubomir Maric? Different opponent this time. Francois Godin, of course, finds himself in P5 behind René's teammate, Patrick Kessler. He's had a pretty good race so far, starting in P15. Finished P4. Well, not finished P4, currently in P4, I should say.
Yeah, and those two aren't that far behind, are they? I wonder if Godin had managed to get past Kessler a little bit earlier on, maybe he'd be even closer to this top 3, but they're really staying in touch right now. And these top 3, they can't afford an accident because they will be really under pressure in the final few laps. Let's see if Nolden can keep up with Osterkamp. He's just lost that toe ever so slightly. We've heard Alex in the past say that's about 0.8 of a second for the draft. Would you agree with that, Joseph? What's like the range of the draft in these cars?
Yeah, this draft in these cars, as you said, Alex mentioned, about sort of 0.8 seconds, where it really starts to come into effect. So they're all pretty much within that, the top 3, and Francois Godin is in that behind Kessler. So Kessler's the only one in the top 5 without that draft effect. As you can see in the background, just Kessler really pulling over and going defensive to not allow him in that slipstream.
Yeah, Kessler desperate to hang on to that P4. If anything, like you said earlier, they are teammates, the drivers in P2 and P4. They want to hang on to those positions. And still, Charlie Summers just following So dub, but I think it's really close for the lead. I think Osterkamp might be going for the race move here. And in fact has just lost out to
P2.
Nolden, so
Yeah, that's for P2. I actually thought that was for the lead as well, but that's Kerry Nolden on a move on René Osterkamp. So maybe René just can't get close enough to Ludmir Moric.
yeah, it's another one. This is perfect for Moric because I really thought he'd be a sitting duck in these closing laps, but with all this fighting, he's not come under pressure. Here comes Osterkamp again. Can he pull the same move? No. Can he pull the dummy? Maybe. Nolden needs to make sure he hits his spot
Moric
this time. He's
locks up.
Yeah, a bit of a lock up from Moric. Nolden, he's got to go defensive maybe into this final chicane because corner, sorry, because Osterkamp's going to have a chance, but he just has to sit in behind. Still P4 and P5. Are they closing in much? It's not enough. It's a couple of tenths. The top three trying to break the draft. Moric really being closed in now by Nolden, who was some 4 tenths faster on that last lap. We've got 6 minutes to go. Can Moric hold on to what would be a terrific victory from P5 on the grid? But here comes Nolden, closing right in. Can he look to the inside? Not quite, but he can maybe get a good run. They both get relatively clean exits. Not much wheel spin from either, but he just has to sit in behind, has Nolden. If anything, I'll say Moric seems to be struggling down the straights. Don't you think? He really seems to be kind of losing a bit of time down these straightaways.
Yeah, it could just be a bit of winning on his setup. Could be a numerous amount of things. I mean, I don't think he'd have damage, but is Kerry going to make a move here? Going to go around the outside of Ludmir Moric into the chicane. Ludmir Moric is going to keep it by the looks of things.
Oh, but here comes Kerry again down the inside. He's got the move, surely. He's got the line. Can he nail it on the brakes? Moric ever so slightly late on the brakes. He could hold this one round the outside. This would be some defence. But now he's got to be careful from Osterkamp. Kerry into the lead of the race. Nolden holding on here, but Moric has got to defend into this final corner. Can Osterkamp come round the outside? Yes, he can. Can he get the drive down this pit straight? He's going to have the inside line for the next corner. And Osterkamp moves up into second place unless Moric can fight back straight away. No, he can't. And now he should have a duel between Nolden and Osterkamp, as we saw a few laps ago.
Yeah, that is the complete opposite of what Moric would have wanted. And as we've been watching this, Godin and Kessler have swapped positions.
Yeah, so Godin's going to be right involved in this one. He should be able to get Moric, I think. And it's incredible how just visually Godin closes right in. And it's up to him now to pass Moric and up to Osterkamp now to pass Nolden. But you know what? Nolden, in the past few laps, I'd say has had decent pace in comparison to Osterkamp, equal pace.
Yeah, Kerry's really come alive in this sprint race today. Just sort of pace seems to have clicked. I mean, he won in the sprint race, the last sprint race we had. It wasn't at Monza, it was the race before. Can't quite remember what that race was.
It was America, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's one of the
yeah.
It's Mid-Ohio, yeah. Sorry about that, but he just sort of seems to be faster than these guys in this race. We would have expected René just to sort of pull away, but it hasn't happened, Sam, has it?
No, not whatsoever. Must say, René has... this would be an odd one because René hasn't had any adversity. He hasn't made any mistakes all day. In fact, he's driven, I think, really well. And yet he may come away from this meeting without a race victory when, of course, I've seen in the past him making just spins, for example, in Silverstone and Nürburgring, and yet still managed to take the race victory. And down the inside goes Godin. He's got past Moric and now can chase after this top three. He might still have a 3 bats for the lead, but it's Osterkamp really closing in. We've got side by side. This Godin making the move. And yeah, that was a really good textbook move from Godin. Really has had good racecraft throughout this one. And he's now going to have to chase down these leaders. He's going to be desperate to overtake Osterkamp again, isn't he?
Indeed he is. Christian Takacs up sort of a second half behind Kessler. So he could capitalise if Kessler makes a mistake maybe. So this should be the penultimate lap for these drivers. About to go on to the last one.
Yeah, and Osterkamp is he's ever so slightly faster. Last lap he was 1/10 faster. I think on this lap, you know what? Not sure if he's gained at all. He's 7/10 behind at the moment. He needs everything he can get in that Formula Renault car. He's at last lap he lost 1.5 tenths. That could be crucial. Osterkamp doesn't have the speed he needs. I think Godin, meanwhile, was a further tenth slower than Osterkamp. So, you know what? I think this top three might stay the same. Nolden still in the lead. He's made the overtakes when it's mattered. He made the overtake on Osterkamp after losing it earlier on. How important was that? It turned out to be. And he is just half a lap away from his second race victory of the season. Still, Osterkamp quite far clear of Godin. Might still be March versus Kessler, however. Kessler closing in that gap very quickly. But Nolden looks really good now, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Just the final part of the lap to go. He's going to have the chicane, the hairpin, and the final corner. How's he going to take the chicane? Should hopefully all clean for Kerry. Nice and clean. So as long as he doesn't throw this away in the last couple of corners, we should see our race victory for Kerry. In the background, you can see Kessler and Morich battling away still. I think we'll stay on our race leader.
One more corner.
Yep, final corner now. Checker flag is out. It's going to be Kerry Nolden who takes your race victory here in the sprint race. Followed by René Osterkamp, his second place of the day. And Jean-Francois Godin joins the two on the podium for his second podium today. Very, very good drive by those three drivers. Don't forget about Ludmir Morich and Patrick Kessler either. Any of those five had the pace to win today, but it was the number 35 Team AOR orange car of Kerry Nolden.
Yeah, of course, March was leading with just, was it 4 laps to go or something? And yeah, ended up in that P4. Did well, actually, defending Kessler. Don't know how he managed to do that, but really tight battle between those two in the end. And Andrew Woodhouse, he's going to come home in 14th position. I think he had a mistake or something with a couple of laps to go. In fact, just did a 29.8, which is some 4 seconds off the pace. So I wonder if he has some kind of issue in that car. But still, points for Andrew Woodhouse. He'll appreciate that. Our co-commentator comes across the line. Just got Robert Plumley now to come across the line. Still, another point for Robert, to be fair. Like I was saying earlier, always seems to find himself in the points and very rarely gets caught up in incidents. And Daniel J. Morris will come home in 16th place. So we will now go through the results. It's Kerry Nolden who takes the race victory. Brilliant race from him. René Osterkamp in second position, his second race of the day in second position. Jean-Francois Godin did really well from 18th on the grid to finish in P3. Ludmir Morich was leading with just a few laps to go. He put in a fantastic effort, to be fair, in 4th. Patrick Kessler, good drive through the field for him, particularly a fantastic start, actually, to make up a lot of positions on the first couple of laps, and he comes home in a solid P5. Christian Takac, once again, a quiet race for him, but he's racked up plenty of points today in 6th. David Butelat comes home in 7th. The pole sitter, good drive from him. Astor Hay, good drive from him in 8th. And so to Evan Imre in 9th. Glenn Andre Key, bit of a quiet race again for him, but he's starting to rack up those top 10 finishes in 10th. Charlie Summers comes home in 11th after a couple of issues early on. So a better performance from her in 12th from 20th on the grid. I am Keyman in 13th. Andrew Woodhouse, good performance from him from 24th on the grid to come home in 14th. Robert Plumley, bit disappointing for him, started 4th, had a few issues up there, but still got a couple of points in 15th. Daniel J. Morris in 16th. Urka Lindstrom in 17th. Alexei Sorokin in 18th. Luke Barton 19th. Phil Reed, disappointing day for him in 20th. Ty McLeod, disappointing second race for him in 21st. Tom Van Humen in 22nd. Scott Newton once again caught up in another incident. And Enric Andre, a terrible day for him, a disqualification in the first race and a P24 in the second, getting involved in an incident on the first lap.
Yeah, that's not the first time that's happened to Enric Andre double DNF. He had it in the first 2 rounds at Okayama and Interlagos, so just not been Enric Andre's season so far. Or race clutches in general, to be honest. Johan Half hasn't raced as many races, but managed to gain 2 seconds in Monza. But overall, it was a pretty entertaining feature and sprint race, in my personal opinion, Sam. I'm sure, hopefully, everyone enjoyed it in the chat. So that was definitely worth the watch.
Yeah, absolutely, and yeah, hopefully you'll catch us next week. But got a couple of interviews. I think you do fancy bringing up to the commentary booth, Joseph.
Do you want to bring up Tom Van Hoyman? I saw he was the first man in the
Charlie.
commentary booth. So, hello, Tom. Do you want me to take this one, Sam?
Yeah, you can take this one.
Tom, congratulations in your feature race, P13. Bit of a disappointing sprint race. Just talk us what happened in both races.
I think in the second race, in the sprint race, Luke decided to, I don't know, maybe he got a slowdown or something. But he stopped right on the straight, and Robert was behind him, and I was behind Robert. And Robert got nowhere to go. I got nowhere to go. Charlie drove in as well, and somebody else. So we took like 4 cars out or something. We tried to get a car home, but got disqualified and I touched Daniel when I lost the car. For me.
Yes, so that's pretty disappointing. There, not really much you can do. Just a bit of a passenger. So we're heading into the final few rounds of the season. We've got sort of 4 rounds left: Brands Hatch, Spa, Canada. What sort of is your favourite track out of those final few races? Is there any sort of particular aspects of those tracks that you like?
Yeah, I really like Brands Hatch. That's my favorite track, or my best track, like last year. So I'm really going to practice for that, and I'm going for top 10 at least.
Well, that's very, very good to hear from Tom. Is there anyone sort of you like to shout out or thank?
I don't know if anybody's still watching because they saw I crashed, so I don't know if they tuned down or not. But
Okay, so congratulations, Tom, on your feature race result, and we will see you next week at Brands Hatch.
thanks, I'm really happy with that because the pace was good and the qualifying pace was good as well. So I'm going to get that in Brands Hatch and getting a top 10.
You go for that, Tom. Sam, do you want to take the next one?
Yep. We will bring up. I think we'll bring up Woody for a little chat. Well done, Woody. Good second race there. What happened near the end? Because we caught up in an incident or something. You seemed to lose a couple of positions.
Hi, Sam. I just had one incident point left.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
So I drove as fast
slightly
as
slow.
only an idiot could mess that up. And I very nearly did. But no, no, it was fine. It was okay. It was a much better race. There was some spinners in the first corner, and Scott got caught up in it, and I nearly ended up hitting him. And that's what really put me to the very, very back. But again, I'm not quick enough to fight the guys in front, so it was okay that that I was at the back and I could just do my own race.
Yeah. And what happened in the first race? I think we saw
In the what? Sorry?
in the first race.
Breaking up a little bit there, mate.
I'm here. I'm here. To be it is, but
We're looking at that. That's what, yeah, what happened in this race? The first race, what did you do on those seconds?
Where choose everybody drop in.
Oh, there we go, Alex. I can hear you, mate.
Yeah. So Yeah, sorry. So yeah, let's see if we can get it. Let's see if the servers come back. So in the first race, obviously, we knew obviously off air you were struggling a little bit, and what happened in the race?
You know what it was? I missed. I'd done nearly all my incident points. I came into the pits, forgot I was the first box, drove through the pits, and then I just quit. Essentially, the first race. It was bad. I know I shouldn't do that, but I honestly couldn't do another 20 minutes on one incident point.
Yeah.
It wasn't really going to be useful for me. Yeah, second race. I had about 8 incident points after about 3 laps and only one of them was due to my own mistake. Everything was just due to people spinning in front of me, having to go off the track, and I spun because of the mess that was going on in lap 102. So yeah, it's just a learning curve. I used to be really good in this car. I don't know why. I just don't know why I'm so rubbish now. But you know.
Well, at least it saved it until the end of the meeting, I guess, for it to happen. So,
is it Discord that's messing up?
I think it is Discord. Yeah, I'm afraid so because it's affecting us all. So,
did you hear what I said at the very end, or
a little bit? Sorry, it was cutting out like
I just
crazy.
said. I think year upon year, I think my talent's running out, and I think I'm getting worse. I think I'm getting worse every year. So I think it's you know, I'm just having a bit of fun now, and yeah, it's not fun at the minute, but it will be hopefully by the end of the year.
Indeed. But sorry, Sam. Hopefully your connection's sorted as well. But I think at this point we're probably better off wrapping up the show because of the technical issues we're having here.
Yeah. Okay. So we will see you all for 2 more races next week at Brands Hatch. We're all looking forward to that one, and yeah, hopefully you'll join us for that one.